Practice Test 4, Section 1, Listening Comprehension. Find the directions for this section of the test in your book and read along with them as they are read to you on the tape. This section tests your ability to comprehend spoken English. It is divided into 3 parts, each with its own directions. During actual exams, you are not permitted to turn the page during the reading of the directions or to take notes at any time.
Part A, Directions. Each item in this part consists of a brief conversation involving 2 speakers. Following each conversation, a third voice will ask a question. You will hear the conversations and questions only once, and they will not be written out. When you have heard each conversation and question, read the 4 answer choices and select the one, A, B, C, or D, that best answers the question based on what is directly stated or on what can be inferred. Then fill in the space on your answer sheet that matches the letter of the answer that you have selected. Here is an example. You will hear,
Do you think I should leave this chair against the wall or put it somewhere else?
Over by the window, I'd say.
What does the woman think the man should do? You will read, A, open the window. B, move the chair. C, leave the room. D, take a seat. From the conversation, you find out that the woman thinks the man should put the chair over by the window. The best answer to the question, what does the woman think the man should do, is B, move the chair. You should fill in B on your answer sheet. Now let's begin with the first conversation. Number 1.
We need someone to put together a slideshow for our class presentation.
How about Donna?
What does the man mean? Number 2.
Could you hand me a teaspoon, please?
Hang on. Let me wash one.
What is the man going to do? Number 3.
Steve hasn't been himself lately, has he?
Well, no, he hasn't. He's had a lot on his mind.
What do the speakers say about Steve? Number 4.
What's Nancy doing this afternoon?
Playing golf, probably. She never wants to do anything else.
What does the man say about Nancy? Number 5.
How's that soup you ordered, Max?
Not as warm as I'd like it to be.
What does Max say about the soup? Number 6.
So, where are the books being stored?
In a warehouse somewhere.
What is learned from this conversation? Number 7.
Have you heard the good news about Marilyn?
You mean that she won a prize for her poetry?
What has the man heard about Marilyn? Number 8.
You sure checked a lot of books out of the library.
Oh, these aren't library books. I went to a used book sale. They were practically giving them away.
What does the man imply about the books? Number 9.
I heard your guitar was damaged.
Yes, but thanks to Mr. Benson, now it's as good as new.
What can be inferred about Mr. Benson from the conversation? Number 10.
All my papers almost blew away.
Windy out there today, isn't it?
What does the man mean? Number 11.
You know, whenever I read a book, I always wonder what the author looks like. For example, I'd like to see a picture of Robert Kurtz.
Well, if you're that interested, there's a photograph of him on the back of his new book.
What does the man say about Robert Kurtz? Number 12.
You don't know how to set up the printer? Try reading the manual, why don't you?
I did, and I'm still in the dark.
What is the man's problem? Number 13. Listen to a telephone conversation.
Hello?
Hello, is Rita there?
Hang on a minute. I'll see.
What does the man imply about Rita? Number 14.
I should have spent more time practicing the piano to get ready for the concert. I don't think I played well at all.
If I were you, I wouldn't dwell on it another minute.
What does the man suggest the woman do? Number 15.
I can't understand why Harold changed majors. He would have made a great mathematician.
I don't know either. He loved the subject, and his grades were good.
What can be concluded about Harold from this conversation? Number 16.
Robin, do you realize you had a dental appointment an hour ago?
I did?
What is Robin's reaction to the man's remark? Number 17.
Oh, so Charlene was able to get reservations for dinner here tonight.
Yes, just at the last minute.
What had the man initially assumed? Number 18.
I don't suppose you're free to go bowling Saturday evening, are you?
As a matter of fact, I am. I was planning to go to a lecture with my sister, but it was called off.
What will the woman probably do on Saturday evening? Number 19.
I just bought a camcorder. It's used, but it's in pretty good condition.
What's a good used camcorder going for these days?
What does the woman ask the man? Number 20.
These new glasses are giving me headaches.
Mine did too at first. That should wear off soon.
What does the man tell the woman? Number 21.
Today's the 1st of the month. Isn't your rent due today?
Yes, but I always pay it the day before it's due.
What does the man say about his rent? Number 22.
Is Roberta at home yet?
No, she had to work late again today.
What does the woman say about Roberta? Number 23.
I've never taken a class as hard as the first half of the accounting course.
You think that was hard? Wait till you take the second half.
What does the woman imply about the accounting course? Number 24.
Have you ever read the book The Great Gatsby?
Only a couple of dozen times.
What does the woman imply about the book? Number 25.
I understand you intend to become a research biologist.
My dream is that someday I'll discover something as important as penicillin.
What does the woman want to do? Number 26.
A lot of people were planning to attend the debate.
Not many were there, though.
What does the man mean? Number 27.
I need to pay my check and leave.
I'll try to catch the waiter's eye.
What does the man intend to do? Number 28.
I heard someone say that Sally needs a lot of improvement if she hopes to win the tennis match on Saturday.
Whoever said that obviously hasn't seen her out on the court recently.
What does the man imply about Sally? Number 29.
Wow, your apartment looks great. I've never seen it so clean.
Well, my roommates pitched in and helped me, and the work was done in no time.
What does the woman say about her roommates? Number 30.
Professor Atkinson, can I see you after this class?
I'm due at a faculty meeting then. How about the same time on Friday?
When does Professor Atkinson suggest that they meet?
This is the end of Part A. Go on to Part B. Now, read along with the directions for Part B in your book as they are read to you on the tape.
Part B. Directions. This part of the test consists of extended conversations between two speakers. After each of these conversations, there are a number of questions. You will hear each conversation and question only once, and the questions are not written out. When you have heard the questions, read the 4 answer choices and select the one, A, B, C, or D, that best answers the question based on what is directly stated or on what can be inferred. Then fill in the space on your answer sheet that matches the letter of the answer that you have selected. Don't forget, during actual exams, taking notes or writing in your test book is not permitted. Now let's begin Part B with the first conversation. Questions 31 to 33. Listen to a conversation between two students.
Want to go out and get something to eat?
I can't. I have a chemistry midterm on Monday and a German exam on Tuesday.
I have a geology exam Monday myself, but I think I'm ready for it.
What kind of exam is it going to be? Multiple choice or essay?
Neither. The professor is going to give us a mineral sample, and we have to identify it.
How do you do that? I mean, a rock's a rock, isn't it?
Actually, there are a lot of tests you can perform on minerals to help you figure out what they are. Probably the first tests I'll do are scratch tests. When you do a scratch test, you rub the sample on a known mineral to see if the unknown mineral scratches the known mineral, or vice versa. That tells you the relative hardness of the sample.
What other tests will you do?
I'll probably do a streak test next. In that test, you rub an unknown mineral against a piece of unglazed porcelain to see what color the streak is.
Why can't you just look at the mineral to see what color it is?
Well, you can, but sometimes a mineral has a lot of impurities, and they can change its color. But a streak test shows the mineral's true color. Then there's always the specific gravity test, the blowpipe test, and the ultraviolet test, and
And after you've done all these tests, you can positively identify any mineral?
Well, usually. But not always. I just hope I can on Monday.
Number 31. What type of exam is the man taking on Monday? Number 32. According to the man, what does a streak test show about a mineral? Number 33. What does the man imply about the tests used to identify minerals? Questions 34 to 37. Listen to a telephone conversation.
Hello?
Hi, Mike. This is Polly at Via Tours. Hope I didn't catch you at a bad time. I just wanted to give you an update on your travel plans for next week.
No, I'm glad you called. What have you found out?
Well, I've made hotel reservations for you in Key West at the Beachcomber Hotel.
Oh, great. That's my favorite hotel there.
And I've got you a rental car so that you can get from the Miami airport down to Key West.
Perfect. And what about airline reservations?
That's the problem. There aren't any direct flights from here to Miami, you know. You'll have to fly through either Minneapolis or Chicago. I went ahead and put you on a flight from here to Chicago for next Monday, and I've got you on standby from Chicago to Miami.
Standby? You mean I don't have confirmed reservations to Miami?
I'm afraid not, but I'm pretty confident that something will open up, and we'll be able to get you on a flight.
I hope so. Well, let me know as soon as you hear something. And next year, I've got to be sure to book my flights earlier.
Number 34. What is Polly's probable occupation? Number 35. To the conversation, where does Mike hope to spend his vacation? Number 36. For which of the following does Mike not have confirmed reservations? Number 37. What does Mike tell Polly he will do next year? Now let's begin Part C with the first talk. Questions 38 to 42. Listen to a talk given at an art exhibit.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the opening of the American Folk Art exhibit here at the Hotchkiss Museum. Some of the pieces in this exhibit have been displayed in other museums, but this is the first time they've all been shown together. Of course, most folk artists would be surprised to find their work in a museum. That's because folk artists created their art for practical purposes, or sometimes simply for the pleasure of creating art, but not because they expected their work to wind up in an exhibit in a museum, in a private gallery, or in the home of a collector. As you look around, you'll see that the work of these early American artists is delightful, if simple, and it still feels fresh. Our exhibit includes many types of folk art, but I suggest we begin with a look at the work of sign painters from the 18th and 19th centuries. Although the paint on these signs has faded, they were surely painted in bright colors to catch the eye of prospective customers. Keep in mind that before around 1870, the majority of Americans couldn't read. Shopkeepers wanted practical signs to advertise their wares. This sign, for example, with its picture of a steaming soup kettle, once hung in front of a restaurant in colonial Boston. This one, in the shape of a horseshoe, hung in front of a blacksmith's shop. You can probably guess where that sign with a picture of a boot on it once hung. You may have noticed that there are no plaques to tell you the names of these sign painters. Sometimes we do know the names of folk artists because they signed their work or had a particularly distinctive style. But there were no signatures on any of these signs, and the artists' names have long since been forgotten.
Number 38. Where is this talk being given? Number 39. What does the speaker say about the art that appears in this exhibit? Number 40. What can be inferred about the sign with the picture of a boot on it? Number 41. Which of the following words would the speaker probably use to describe American folk art? Number 42. Why does the speaker not mention the names of the sign painters? Questions 43 to 46. Listen to a talk given at an academic award ceremony.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome the president of Colton College, the chancellors, the administrators, my fellow faculty members, and the students to the Academic Excellence Awards Night. Our first award for Faculty Member of the Year goes to Professor Patricia Callahan. I'm particularly pleased that this year's winner is from my own department. Professor Callahan has been at Colton College for a total of 8 years now, 2 as a graduate student and 6 as a faculty member. She has consistently received top evaluations from the students as well as from her department head. Her papers on historical economics are well respected by all of her colleagues, including myself, if I may say so, and this year she received a government grant to continue her work on generating computer models of the economy. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in giving a round of applause to Professor Callahan.
Number 43. What is the purpose of this talk? Number 44. Who is the speaker? Number 45. What subject does Professor Callahan probably teach? Number 46. For how many years has Professor Callahan been a teacher at Colton College? Questions 47 to 50. Listen to part of a lecture given in a class in American literature.
Good morning, class. In our last class, we talked about Walt Whitman and said he was one of the 2 greatest voices of American poetry in the 19th century. The other was Emily Dickinson. Now, their poetry could not have been more different. Dickinson claimed that she never even read Whitman's poems. Their lifestyles could not have been more different. But they were both important innovators. Now, I said before that Whitman became well known around the world. Dickinson was famous only in her own village, Amherst, Massachusetts, and that was not for her poetry, but for her mysterious ways. You see, she almost never left the house of her father, who was a wealthy lawyer. When she did appear, she always wore white dresses. Although this may not seem too strange to us today, it was pretty unusual for Amherst in the 1800s. For a woman who lived such an uneventful life, though, she wrote amazingly perceptive poems about nature, love, and death. Her poems are all short and untitled. What I particularly admire about these poems is their economy. She was able to say so much in so few words. She never intended her poems to be published. At least 10 of them were published during her lifetime, but that was against her will. After her death in 1886, her family discovered that she had written over 1,700 poems. They published a collection of about 30 of her poems a few years later, and eventually all of them appeared in print. Now we'll take a look at some of her poems. But first, questions, anyone?
Number 47. What point does the speaker make about Walt Whitman? Number 48. Why was Emily Dickinson famous in her hometown? Number 49. What does the speaker say she particularly admires about the poems of Emily Dickinson? Number 50. About how many of Emily Dickinson's poems were published when she was alive?